This is the Ramana Maharshi 40 Verses on Reality satsang, a time for self-reflection and self-inquiry. Know yourself and be always free and at peace. I'm Richard Clarke, hosting this satsang. Welcome. I'm a seeker like you, sharing what we love. I've been blessed with years of deep teaching, and I bring this to you in this satsang. This week's reading from 40 Verses on Reality. Verse 1. From our perception of the world, there follows acceptance of a unique first principle possessing various powers. Pictures of name and form, the person who sees, the screen on which he sees, and the light by which he sees. He himself is all of these. Since we exist and perceive an external world, there must be a cause, something greater than our individual self. There must be one reality which underlies the appearance of both the seer and the seen. This one reality is existence-consciousness, Sat Chit in Sanskrit, hyphenated to show that they are not two different things, but aspects of what is only one. This is the self, not your individual self, but the self of the universe, the self in which the universe appears. This self is who you are. It is who you always are. Perceptions play out on the screen of consciousness, as does everything that is known to you. This includes this seeming person that sees the screen of consciousness and the light by which it is illuminated. All of this, the seer, the seen, the seeing, and what is seen, is yourself, your deepest identity, not the imagined identity that you hold to as real. It's like we are in the movies, only to discover that we are the screen, not the movie. Is the screen ever burned by the fire in the movie? This self is the first principle written about in the first verse. This self is not this seeming person, this individual, this imagined person existing within this self. This self is the light by which the person and the world is known. This self is the known, the knower, and the knowing. All of it, always. The individual is just an idea. Who are you without this idea? Some notes for practice. Right now, do you exist? You do exist, and you know you exist without using your mind or senses. You know you exist. Where do you look to see that you exist? If you are looking within for who you are, how can any changing thing be you? You feel like you, the same one, always, all the time. What is it that is present all the time within yourself? When you look through your senses, you see many objects and complexities. When you look directly into yourself, what you find is most singular. Do you have two existences or just one? Are there two selves within, one to see the other, or just one? What do you feel? What do you know within yourself? Now on to this week's videos. First is by Swami Sarvapriyananda, and it talks about what are you, the unchanging awareness in which all appears.
This experience and all that appears to us in our dreams, various dreams, whatever they are, and all the darkness, nothingness which we experience in deep sleep, all of that comes and goes in one constant awareness. Not the mind. I'm not talking about the mind here. Because the mind is certainly active now. The mind is certainly active in dreams. In deep sleep, even the mind shuts down. That's why you don't have the awareness, I am in deep sleep. It's only after waking up you look back and say, there was a period of nothingness. But beyond the mind, the awareness, the consciousness in which even the mind appears, the body appears, that awareness is constant in all of them. In the waking, in the dreaming, in the deep sleep. The waking state where you are the waker and you have a world of waking. That is characterized by the way the Upanishad puts it is, it's a gross state. Gross not in the, gross has a different meaning in America. It means awful and messy. Not in that state. It simply means physical. That's why many of our Vedanta texts which were translated by Swamis in the early 20th century who were educated by the British, so they translate the Sanskrit sthula as gross when they mean physical. So physical universe, when we experience a physical universe through our senses, that's the waking state. That's how they define the waking state. When we experience a subtle universe in the mind, that's the dream state. When neither the subtle universe nor the gross universe are experienced, they call it a causal universe. Why causal? If you imagine the deep sleep, if you reimagine the deep sleep as a blankness out of which sprouts the dream and the waking, then the deep sleep will seem like a seed from which everything is coming and into which everything is disappearing again. So that's why the deep sleep is called by the Mandukya the causal state. Your causal state. Your subtle state is the dream state. Your gross or physical state is this waking state. All of these come and go in one unchanging consciousness, which you are. Note then, this unchanging consciousness is free from all trouble, all ill, all suffering. Because all problems belong to either this state or that state. The power and glory of the emperor in his waking state were all gone, and there was disaster unfolding in his dream state, and everything was gone in deep sleep state, and again it comes back in the waking state. And yet the one consciousness to which they all appear, in which they all appear, that is untouched. It's not sticky. It's not stuck in the waking state or the dream, or rather, let me put it this way: the waking state does not stick to it. The dream world does not stick to it, nor the darkness of the deep sleep world. That consciousness in itself is what the Upanishad calls the fourth. First, consciousness, that fourth consciousness alone, in the waking state, through the body and mind, experiencing a waking world, the waker and the waker's world. That consciousness alone, in the dream state, being the dreamer and the dream world. That consciousness alone is the deep sleeper in the deep sleep state and the blankness of deep sleep. In itself, it's neither the waker, nor the dreamer, nor the deep sleeper. That is called the fourth. The fourth. One way of understanding this is the example of gold and the ornaments. I often give that example. Imagine this gold, and it's designed into a beautiful necklace, and then it's melted and made into a ring, and melted again and made into a bracelet. And somebody comes and tells you the reality of all of this is the gold. What you're seeing one after another, there's only one reality there. That's gold. And if somebody says that, oh, gold is the reality, then let me dispense with the ornaments and look for gold. Will this person find gold? No, because gold is in and through that very ornament. It is that ornament. The ornaments are names and forms and uses. Necklace is a name and a particular form and a use. You put it on your neck. A bracelet is a name, bracelet, and it's a form, and it's a use. You put it on your wrist. A ring is a name, ring, and it's a form, and you put it on your finger. But the material is the same in each of them. Exactly in the same way, that fourth, which the Upanishad is talking about, the term used by Gaudapada, Upanishad just says fourth, Chaturtham. Gaudapada introduces a term which has become very popular in Advaita Vedanta ever since. Turiya. Turiya is a Sanskrit word, literally means the fourth. Note one more thing here. A classic mistake is committed by many people when they hear about this. Many people think, oh, I am the waker now, and the Upanishad is telling me the real I, the divine I, the teaching of Vedanta is this something called the fourth, which I'll have to attain, which I'll have to find out somehow through meditation or prayer or something. It's like the golden necklace saying that, oh, I'm a necklace, but now I'm being told my reality is something called gold, so I have to somehow become gold. The necklace is gold. That Turiya, the reality about ourselves, that ultimate consciousness, we are that right now, though we are in the waking state. In the dream state too, we are that consciousness. In the deep sleep state too, we are that consciousness. In fact, these states come and go. These states they do not change the consciousness. The consciousness remains one and unchangeable. So that consciousness, just like gold is available in and through the ornaments. Wherever the ornaments are there, gold is there. Wherever, in whatever state of awareness we are, you are that consciousness. It's not a question of becoming something else. It's not a question of having an extraordinary experience. In spiritual life, there are extraordinary experiences. Samadhis, trances, ecstasies. Sri Ramakrishna had a whole spectrum of these experiences. But what the Upanishad is saying is, whatever your experience, you must be conscious to have that experience. Unless you are aware of it, you are not having that experience. So, that consciousness in which all experiences take place, waking experiences, dream experiences, even deep sleep is an experience. Deep sleep is not the absence of experience, it's the experience of absence. So all of these are experiences and made possible by that one consciousness which we are. That one consciousness is called the fourth by the Upanishad.
And now we have Mooji, and in a clip, you are beyond all. And it's Mooji reading from the Ribu Gita, the Song of Ribu.
Maybe we share a couple of the verses from Ribu Gita this morning.
Condividiamo un paio di versi della Ribhugita questa mattina.
We just do these two, I think, for now. He says, there is nothing of birth with the gross and other bodies.
Non c'è niente della nascita con i corpi.
No childhood, no youth, no senility.
Non c'è infanzia, non c'è giovinezza, non c'è anzianità.
No troublesome death, no birth.
Non ci sono problemi di morte o di nascita.
No relative here, no non-relative.
Non ci sono parenti e neanche non parenti.
No friends or foes of which to speak.
Non ci sono amici con cui parlare.
And no divisions such as the worlds beyond.
E non ci sono divisioni come i mondi al di là.
What exists with not an atom apart, changeless and undivided, is the supreme Brahman alone.
Ciò che esiste senza un atomo separato, senza cambiare e indiviso, è il supremo Brahma, esso stesso da solo.
There are no directions or directionlessness,
Non ci sono direzioni o senza direzione.
or the guardians of the directions.
Non ci sono guardiani delle direzioni.
There is no Hara, no Hari, no Brahma, which is the destroyer, sustainer, or creator.
Non c'è Ara, non c'è Ari, non c'è Brahma, che è il distruttore, il sostenitore, il creatore.
No multitude of gods and demons,
Non ci sono moltitudini di dei o demoni.
no men, no beasts,
Non ci sono uomini o bestie,
no reptiles or plant life such as forests.
né rettili né piante vive come la foresta.
What exists as the infinite supreme consciousness space, the supreme reality, the divisionless, is the supreme Brahman alone.
Ciò che esiste come infinita, suprema coscienza spazio, la suprema realtà senza divisione, è il suprema Brahma.
Don't identify.
Di non identificarti.
Allow all things to unfold.
Lascia che dai il permesso ad ogni cosa di dispiegarsi
Remain as the witness only.
e rimani come il testimone di ciò.
Yes. As soon as it's clear that what you are perceiving is only a shadow,
Ma appena ogni cosa è chiaro, che ciò che appare è semplicemente un'ombra,
that it has no substantial reality.
che non ha un'esistenza sostanziale,
Yes. Bring the attention upon the witness,
torna con l'attenzione al testimone,
because the witness alone will be shining.
perché quella è l'unica cosa che splenderà. Il
See
testimone.
if the witness can be witnessed.
e vedi se questo testimone può essere testimoniato, può essere visto.
And everything comes to space.
E tutto torna nello spazio.
And this is not a belief.
Questo non è una credenza,
It's not thought.
non è un pensiero,
It's direct experience
è un'esperienza diretta,
in which the self is confirmed within itself.
laddove il sé conferma se stesso in se stesso.
And then all the potential for distractions fade.
E lì tutta la potenza della distrazione, tutto ciò che può distrarti,
You're out of time.
cade.
You're out of events.
Sei fuori dal tempo, dagli eventi,
You're away from farm.
tu sei via da tutto ciò.
They belong to the realm of the consciousness and mind.
Loro appartengono al reame della coscienza e della mente.
But you are the immaculate being.
Tu sei l'essere immacolato.
This is not a belief.
Questo non è una credenza.
There's no separation in knowing this and being this.
Non c'è separazione nel sapere questo e nell'essere questo.
Yeah. You're beyond all.
Tu sei al di là di tutto.
Yes. No one else need to tell you this for you to confirm it.
Nessun altro ha bisogno di dirti questo perché tu possa confermarlo.
Yeah. Each time these forces come,
Ogni volta che queste forze arrivano,
you will look at them in the same way.
tu le tratti nella stessa maniera.
There will come a time when they are rising, one look and they will go.
Arriverà un momento in cui queste cose arriveranno e un semplice sguardo le farà sparire.
You won't even have to complete the question, who am I who is looking?
Non devi neanche completare quella domanda, chi sono io, chi sta guardando.
Yes. I'm not asking you to wait for another time.
Non ti sto chiedendo di aspettare la prossima volta.
Remember, you are the beingness. And beingness is beyond time.
Ricordati che sei l'essere, l'essere è al di là del tempo.
It has nothing to put right.
Non c'è niente che devi mettere a posto.
If you can remember, I am the consciousness only,
Se tu puoi ricordare che sei la coscienza sola,
then there's no sadhana that you need to do.
non c'è nessuna pratica sadhana che devi fare.
It takes care of everything.
Quello si prende cura di ogni cosa.
If you think and act, I am a person,
Se tu pensi e agisci come una persona,
then you pick up burdens.
allora lì prenderai su dei carichi, dei pesi.
When you are that absolute,
Quando sei quell'assoluto,
you're beyond all.
tu sei al di là di ogni cosa.
And now, Nome, and Nome asks, by what light?
By what light do you know that you exist? What knows? Certainly, the knowledge of your existence does not depend upon a body. What knows? The senses do not know it. It knows the senses, but the senses do not know it. What knows? How do you know that you exist? It is not due to thought. It knows thought, but remains unknown by thought. What knows? How do you know that you exist? You must exist in order to know it. Indeed, the knowledge and the existence are inextricable. They are identical. When you are happy, what knows the happiness? It knows itself. The perfect fullness of existence is self-knowing. If you yearn to realize the truth, what so yearns? The reality is self-known. Evidently, the unreal cannot know the real, for the unreal does not exist. The real comprehends itself, not by sensation, not by conception, not by anything objective whatsoever. The only veiling of the innate perfection is misidentification, which alone constitutes ignorance. Such misidentification is not a second reality, not a second self. It is just misidentification, delusion, the self of imagination. Inquire within, who am I? What is the self that actually exists? What is the nature of the inquirer? In existence, there is no multiplicity. In true knowledge, there is no differentiation. The self is existence alone. True knowledge is consciousness alone. If you suppose that you are apart from that, who is it that so supposes? Have a keen interest in self-knowledge. For in this lies peace, happiness, and freedom from all of the imagined bondage. Listen, reflect, meditate, remain absorbed. Thus you will know the self, and what you know is what you are. What you appear to have you may lose, but what you are is forever. Just as existence is unborn and imperishable, so is this knowledge. Without beginning and without end. From the viewpoint of the assumed individuality or ego, it may appear enigmatic or perplexing as to how this can be. From that perspective, one thinks of knowledge as something possessed or something that occurs. But self-knowledge in truth is identical to the self that is known. It neither comes nor goes. It is indivisible and undifferentiated. Such is timeless truth. That timeless truth, that supreme Brahman, is what indeed you are. And what you are always. What you are not, you are never. So then, what exists? The self exists, but it cannot be known objectively, as if you were one thing and the self were another. After all, what is being indicated here is yourself. What knows? By what light do you know that you exist?
Now we will take a few minutes and meditate, inquire. Breathe in and breathe out. Long, slow breaths. Notice the breath as it comes in, as it goes out. And now just notice that you exist. You exist, and you know that you exist. Now inquire, investigate within yourself, within your actual experience right now. Where do you look to see that you exist? Do you look to your senses? Do you look to your thoughts? Do you look somewhere deeper than senses or thought? How do you know that you exist? What is present at all time within yourself? Thoughts come and go, feelings come and go, perceptions come and go. There's something that doesn't come and go. What is that? Are there two of you, one to know the other, or is there just one? What do you feel right now? Who am I? What is the nature of this existence? All right, now let's close with a chant. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you for sharing this with me today. If this satsang was of interest to you, I have more for you: a free book site, a YouTube site, and my blog. The URLs will be on the screen next. This series on Ramana's 40 Verses on Reality will continue in the following weeks.